All right, Kevin James Thornton,
Hi.
welcome to a one-on-one interview. Excited to talk to you today and get to know you a little bit, and we'll talk
Yeah,
about.
thanks. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah. So where are you located right now? Where do you live?
That's a great question. I all of my belongings are in a storage locker in Nashville,
Okay.
and I right now I'm just going from city to city where my shows are.
Uh-huh.
And if I have a few days off, I just get an Airbnb. I don't know where I'm living. I've been on the road so much
Oh my
that
gosh.
I'm a vagabond.
I love it. I grew up in Nashville, so
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh,
I'm a Southern gay.
wow. How
Um,
how long ago did you leave?
I've been in Chicago since like '94,
Mhm.
so I've been here. It's my home, but I go back to Nashville every year. Tell me about your background. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Indiana.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
And actually, Nashville seemed like such a big city to me. Like we would take little weekend trips and just like walk around downtown.
Mhm.
And back then, like Second Avenue was all like junk stores. Do you remember
Yeah.
Lower Broad? It was a different scene back then. But anyway, that's so I moved there after college to start a band and lived there for many years.
Oh, what happened with the band? Do you still like to play?
We sucked. No, it just, I mean, we put everything we had into it for like a decade and it just didn't work.
Mhm.
And it's actually why I started doing stand up because at the end of that, we got so close to getting a record deal and then it fell apart. And then I was like, well, I think I'm done with this. I don't want to do that anymore. I
Mhm.
want to do something totally different. And so I moved to LA to start stand up comedy.
Wow. And then you just started from the beginning, huh? And then
Totally. I had never done it. I moved to LA and I took a couple comedy classes
uh
and just started hanging out in the back at the comedy store every night.
Did you have any comedian heroes that you wanted to emulate or?
Yeah, actually, it's funny that the idea to try it didn't occur to me sooner, because when I was a kid, do you remember that TV show Evening at the Improv?
Yeah.
It was like stand up had a big wave in the '80s, if you know,
Hmm.
and like I loved that show. I watched every episode of it. Um, I watched Comedy Central all the time, so like I loved like uh, uh, Robin Williams, and my parents bought that Bill Cosby album where he sang about chocolate cake. And like when I was a kid, like that was like the first time I remember just like cracking up at stand up comedy. I've been such a huge fan of it. I don't know why it didn't occur to me to do that.
Hmm. Did you know there's a Color Me Bad guy with the same name as you? So I'm talking about the 80s.
I did know that. Yeah,
I was like Googling you and I was like, what? Color Me
yeah,
Bad? Is he gonna sing like Sex You Up at
yeah.
these shows?
I
Um,
am, but also that's a different guy.
are you packing up the voice modulator?
Yeah, yeah. I do it not the whole time, but there is a little bit of that in the show.
I think the whole time, whatever an hour would be a lot
It'd
for.
be sure would.
Um, and so you grew up in Indiana, and then how was it being gay? When did you come out? All that stuff.
It took me a long time, like because also my community was really really religious, and it's before the internet, so I couldn't like get online and find other people, so it was kind of a small town, super religious, so it was awful. I mean, it
Mhm.
was like I totally was in so much conflict about it, and it wasn't until I went away to college and enrolled in musical theater that I met people with different ideas and viewpoints and slowly started to shift away from that. But I would say I was not really out and myself until my late 20s.
Mhm. I'm familiar because I went to Western Kentucky and it was the same thing. I studied musical theater and then I
Oh,
kind
you
of
did?
left my tribe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So similar backgrounds. That's really
Mhm.
interesting. Yeah. Um, and then talking about Pride, it's Pride Month. I'm glad
Yeah.
you're be here for, around our Pride time and our whole month. And I saw that you're going to San Antonio in July, and I'm going there for Pride tonight
Oh,
after
you
work.
are?
Yeah,
That's
yeah. So
cool.
It's a very diverse. San Antonio is not what people think. I think they think of it as like a Texas kind of thing, and it's very. I thought it was diverse. Had great gay bars.
Yeah. All the major cities in Texas are super cool.
Mhm.
They're, you know, Dallas, Houston, they're all great places. It's just the rest of Texas that.
It's the outskirts, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so do you, with your show, do you like hecklers or how do you manage that? Because I see you interacting a lot with the audience. So
Yeah.
tell me about that.
It's funny. I think I get a different kind of heckling. And I rarely do I encounter like an angry person or something, you know? I think that like the nature of how people know me, people feel like they really know me. You know, if they were watching my stories all through the pandemic on their phone, I think a lot of people have kind of a parasocial relationship with me. So once in a while, you know, someone gets a couple drinks in them and they start responding to everything I'm saying as if we're in a conversation, you know. And so that's like the kind of heckling I get. It's like positive, but it's still like interrupting the show.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's hard. It's often a little hard to take it to get it to stop because I can't destroy the person usually, or if I do, it has to be real, you know, nuanced, or I
Yes.
look like an asshole, you know.
Yeah, but also it can throw you off. They sometimes people don't understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I saw you had a caftan for your merchandise.
I sure do.
Where did that come from? You just like to wear one or what?
If in my early pandemic videos, I was wearing those in my house, you know. It's funny. I always had like 5 or 6 of them in my closet, but during the pandemic, I was like, I'm not wearing anything else but those.
I
So
mean,
that's what.
sounds
Right.
great. I would
I
love to have
wish
one on
I
right
wish
now.
that's what we wore in public. But so I think a lot of people associate at one point associated those with me, and then just for fun for Christmas last year, I did a short run of those. So yeah,
Oh, okay, got it. Gosh, I may have to buy one if if there's one at Zanies. Um, what do people wear under a caftan? Do you wear anything under
I
that?
think I had nothing.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of naughty. Yeah.
We're on the same page. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to ask. Oh, do you have a favorite tattoo? I know you got some tattoos.
Yeah, it's probably this one on my wrist, and it's my cat.
Oh,
It's funny. In my comedy special, this is poking out of my sleeve a little bit.
uh-huh.
And there was a whole thread on Reddit about me having the devil on my wrist.
Okay.
And like people thinking like I'm some sort of like I'm on a secret mission to take down Christianity
Oh
because the
no.
devil is on my wrist, but it's my cat.
Oh, what's your cat's name?
Comet.
Comet. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And Comet, where's Comet staying then? Wait, who's taking care of Comet while you're
I
on
know. My ex is I moved out and left my cat behind. That was
Oh,
the saddest part of it,
poor Comet.
you know.
Bouncing around.
I go see him a lot.
Okay, good. Um, let's see. How did you build such a following online? And is it overwhelming or how's that?
Um, yeah, sometimes it's overwhelming. Um, it was just that right place, right moment in time. There was a moment when a whole bunch of people got on TikTok during the pandemic because we were at home alone, and there was something about that app that I think felt social. I mean, it exploded in like early 2021, and that's right about when I started making videos, and a lot of people just tuned into me, and it blew up. I mean, there was a minute there where I was gaining like 100,000 new followers a week, and I didn't intend. It was just an accident. I did not intend to do anything. It just happened.
Yeah, I think like you look at like Leslie Jordan, who blew up
Mhm.
like at that during that time, and so I think we were looking for fun entertainment.
Totally. Yes, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You had a captive audience in a way, I
I
guess.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to accomplish next? What do you have coming up?
So I'm actually about to take a long break. I've been on the road for 3 years with no break,
Okay.
and it's been amazing. I love the last 3 years, but also I'm ready for a break. And so the timing just worked out super well. I just signed a book deal.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and so I'm taking my advance, and I'm about to take several months off to write this book, and I'm going to go to Europe and float around in Airbnbs and write this book. It's very eat, pray, love, but it's because I just came out of a
Gay love.
eat, gay, love. Make sure I'm punctuate that correctly.
Oh yeah.
Um, um, yeah, because I came out of a breakup. It's the same thing that happened to that author. She came out of a breakup, and then she took her advance, and she went around the world and wrote this book. So that's not the book that I'm going to write, but I am going to go to Europe for a few months and just enjoy myself and stare out my Airbnb window and write my book.
That sounds wonderful.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Do you know what you want to call it yet, or any ideas?
No, well, yeah. So I mean, we had to put together like a proposal to submit to people, and the working title was this. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
Hmm,
I don't know if I can say it.
you don't have to.
All right. I think I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, but what's the goal of it coming out? So then, we can look out for
So
it.
it'll come out in 2026.
Oh gosh.
I know
Wow.
it's such a long process. My due date is June 2025,
Okay.
and then they said there's like 6 or 7 months of pre-sales and promotion. So
Wow.
it's a memoir, but
Mhm.
I'm doing something a little bit different. It's following the entire decade of the 90s, which is part of my thing. But that was my coming out, my stepping away from faith and religion, and so that all happened very tightly in that decade
Mhm.
for me. So it's that complete story, but then also me in the present with what's going on in my life today, sort of flashing back to these stories of my coming out story and my coming of age story.
Oh, I love it. Now I want to read it.
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
wait till
I'm excited.
2026.
Yeah, long way.
Oh well, we'll have to keep in touch. Um,
Yeah.
tell me, just one thing. What do you want to tell people about your show to get them to come out to Zanies at Chicago?
Well, I mean, it's a stand-up comedy show, and it's the essence of what they're familiar with of me online. It's embarrassing stories about growing up. It's stories about my youth group church experience and coming out of the closet and all that mess. And with just a little touch of the auto-tune stories, like I said, it's not the whole time. It's just enough to be satisfying. But it's stand-up comedy and storytelling. You'll laugh, you'll cry. It's better than Cats.
I think I'm going to relate to it like crazy. I mean, it just sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah. And a lot of people, and I mean, a lot of straight people come to my shows too. And, there's a lot in it of just, growing up and learning to be comfortable in your own skin is a universal experience. So
Yeah, so true. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then where can people follow you? Where's the best way to follow you?
I would say the best way is to start at my website, which is kevinjamesthornton.com. I'm actually taking a social media break. And when I'm writing my book, I plan to disappear a little bit. However, on my website, I'm keeping like a travel journal. I have a podcast. Like I'm still going to be making stuff, but
Okay.
not in the TikTok way for a hot minute.
Very good. Okay. It has been so great getting to know you, and I look forward to seeing you at your show. I'll come by and say hi.
Great.
It's been such a treat. So
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
yeah, have a great weekend, and we'll see you in Chicago soon.
Okay. You too. Thanks.
All right,
Bye.
take care. Bye.